So it's actually good to have you guys back. So let us just start with the importing of files with multiple files into Power Query. Okay. So when I want to import any file with Power Query, what I'll do, I'll just go to the data tab. I'll go to get data here. And since if you see here, my data here in this particular store details is there in one particular folder. Okay, so I have to import these three files together. So in that case, what I have to do here is I'll just go to the get data tab and just say from file because those files are already in the folder. So what I'll do here is I'll select from folder. So once I select from folder here, I'll just locate the file first. Directly I'll go to the I'll copy the address from here. I'll locate the file here. And you can see now I have located the folder itself. Okay, obviously the files are not being shown because I am selecting the folder in this particular case scenario where I'm selecting the folder, not individual files. Okay, so I'll just say open now. Now, after selecting from folder, you can see it is showing me in the folder there are three files right now. Okay, so what I'll do for now, because I want to first transform it before loading, what I'll do, I'll just use a transform data option. Now, in this option, you can see there are three files being listed here, right? So what I need to do here is only the files are being listed and the it's not listing the file contents here. So what I can do here is I can just expand the data here. So to expand or combine all the three files data. See right now the file name and the file details are only right. So what I can do to expand the content here, you can see in the content tab, I'll go to expand data here. And once I'm expanding data, you can see it is showing me the preview of the first file. Okay, you can see the first file preview is being shown. So any one file preview only will be shown. Okay, so I'll just say okay now here so that the preview of the file is okay for me right now. So once I expand the content, you can see what is happening. The Power Query is expanding all the three files and it has now merged all the three files together. Okay, now, since I have all these rows here, okay, the unnecessary rows here, I need to first remove these unnecessary rows from each and every table, correct? So what I'll do here is you can see there's something called as transform sample file. So if I go here, what will happen here is any transformation I do here, each and every transformation will be applied for each and every file separately before combining here. You can see the file is combined here, right? But in this particular scenario, where I do the transformation, it will first apply to each and every file. So any transformation I do, if I want to remove the first 10 rows of the file, for each and every file, the first 10 rows will be removed, and over and above that, it will be actually whatever transformations I do here, over and above that, it will be applied separately to the file, and then it will be merged here. The files will be merged in the final query. Okay. So as we did yesterday, what I need to do, I need to actually remove the top rows, that is top 10 rows I need to remove because I don't access this from the tabular data. Right? So I'll remove the top 10 rows. And after removing the top 10 rows, you can see I have the headers in the first row here. So what I have to do, I have to use the use first row as header option to promote it. Once I promote the headers here, what is the next step? I need to actually add nulls in this first particular column in the metric column, correct? Because if I don't add null, I cannot fill it down. So what I'll do is I'll replace the values wherever it is blank with null here. Okay. Now you can see the null is being replaced. Now what I can do, I can use the fill down option to actually fill the metric column properly. So this column is done. Now store ID column is proper, category column is proper. Now I have to actually make the reference column proper. That is reference column I don't need, so I'll remove the column here. And yesterday, as we discussed, if you saw, these column headings are dates here. Okay, I don't want dates in the column headings. Dates are row data. It's not columnar data. Correct. So what I will do is I'll just select the columns which are not dates, and I will just go to unpivot columns. I'll just say unpivot other columns other than these three selected columns. That is all the date columns here. Correct. So I'll just unpivot all the other columns here. So now date and the value are separately properly arranged here in the row form. Now I'll just rename this column as date. Okay. Once I rename it, I can also change the type of this column type as date and time because it has date and time. And now this is a value field, so I'll just properly change the type of this particular column to decimal number here. Okay. So once I change this particular data types here, the next step is for me is to check the errors, correct? So I'll just go to home tab. I'll just go to keep rows. I'll just say keep errors just to see if there are any errors. You can see there are errors in the file, correct? So what I'll do, I'll remove this particular step. I'll again select the column. I'll go to remove rows here and I'll remove the errors from the data. Okay. So once the errors are removed, what we need to do is in metric column, you can see there is sales and margin, which are columnar data, but they are there in rows. Sales and margin should come in columns, correct, as values here. So in this particular case, what I'll do, I'll select the metric column here. I'll go to transform data. I'll go to pivot column. Right now I want to pivot it because it is an unpivoted data. So I'll just say where is my value column? My value column itself is a value column. So what I'll just say, okay. So once I do this, what will happen? Now you can see the sales and margin are into columns. Before it were into rows, right? If you remember, we had filled the nulls and all. Now what I'll do, all the unnecessary null values, I'll just go here. I'll remove it out. Okay, all the unnecessary null values, I remove it out from each and every file. Since I'm doing it in the transform file here, transform sample file here, it will be done for each and every file first, all these transformations, and then the files will be combined, all the three files will be combined together. Okay. Now I can just do what I can just change the type of this particular margin column also. This margin column is a percentage column, so I'll select it as percentage column here. Now my transformations are done. Correct. So once my transformations are done, what I can do, I can just directly go to the sales retail column here. And once I go to sales retail column, it's showing me some column one of table wasn't found. Okay. I need to transform sample file. Column one of the data was not found in the sense that did we have any column one data here? Before promoting the headers, column one data is here, correct? So in this case, what I'll do, I'll remove the change type column here. So once I remove, you can see all the three files here are combined into one particular table. You can see in this particular filter, there are three CSV files. Okay? Error in column 0. Okay. Is there any error here? Expanded table column 1. There are errors in two files here. I don't know what the error is. We need to check that. Let's just check the errors here. Click on application start with subsequent steps. We want to continue. No. Expanded. Okay. So I'll just see transform file expanded table column. Okay. Continue. Mirror occur transform file. How the table wasn't found. Okay. What I'll do here is rename the column, rename columns are that. I'll just expand this particular table here. So once I expand, so, so there's still some error in the other column here. Okay, but okay, in the transform file, if you remember, we had actually changed the column name here, right? We had unpivoted the data here. And when we unpivoted it, you can see for this particular file, the first date was 6/01/2020, correct? So it is just saying that such kind of date might not have been found for the other ones. That is what is actually saying. So in that case, what you can do here is, let me just go to error and check it once more. Since 6/1/2020, how the table wasn't found. Okay. So 6/1/2020, why wasn't it? One other problems of it. Most of the time I can find it. And then usually the column of remove other files. Just go to the settings of the query settings and let me just see what is happening. If I want to see the source code, what I can do is I can go to advanced editor. In the advanced editor, let me just see what all are there. Okay. Hash. It's okay. Okay. So, so what we can actually do here is instead of transforming this unpainted. Okay, so all the other transformations we are done, right? What we can do here is till the fill down transformation is fine. So all the other transformation that is unpivoted, other columns, all those things we can delete from here and we can just apply it directly in the main query. I'll remove all these transformations here. Now I'll go to the main query, which is now faster and which is not does not should not give me an error. I'll just refresh the preview here. Okay, post query using an 6/1/2020 is the removed columns of it. I'll remove this also. So once I do this, refresh preview still function. Expand the content again. Just say, okay, this is my sample file. Yes. The, yeah. So my new Power Query is done. And in this particular transform file, okay, what I can do to apply all the steps, I can just copy these steps from here itself. And directly see remove top rows, all this thing, you can just direct copy it from the source. You can go to the new transform file. Because once ready to, you can just see. Yeah. So you can just paste all the. Yeah. So one more thing we need to do here is we need to copy this also. So in full, because this is the last step, so I'll just copy this transform file here also. Mhm. So, okay, so we're going to source type. Remove photos, okay, why is the step is not in the wash? Okay, no issues, we'll perform it again. Once I do this, what I can do, I can just remove the top and rows here, remove top rows and rows, and I can just promote the headers and so these two transformations have been, we go to now the slides written here. Now the column one, okay, so the promoting headers also has issues. Like before promoting the headers, you can say I have the column. Now what I can do, see, I have done transformation only till I just removed the first 10 rows of column. In this case, the next thing what I can do here is all the other transformations I can perform it in the main source query here. Now what I can do, I can use it to promote the headers here. Now once I promote the headers, what I can do is I can fill all the things with, and also what we need to do, we need to remove the word metric from this line, correct? Because this is not required. That particular line header is there in all the, so I have removed the metric line. Now I'll select this, I'll go to transform data. Here I'll just replace the value. Wherever there is blank, I'll replace it with none. You will say okay. And once all is done, what I'll do, I'll fill it down. Now the sales data is filled, all the metric is filled up. This column is proper, this column is proper. I don't want this column, so I'll remove this particular column here. Once I remove, I want to unpivot all the other columns, so I'll select this. I'll go to transform tab. Okay, there is one more wrong thing I have to unpivot the columns, only unpivot the other columns. So I have to select all these three columns, unpivot it, and go to all the other columns. Now, once it is done, I'll rename it as date column here. Once I rename this as date column, what I'll do here is I'll change the type of this column to date and time. And in the date and time, then I'll go to value column here, change the type of this particular column to decimal number. And after that, what I have to do, the next step is to remove rows, remove error rows, correct? So I'll just go to remove rows, remove errors here from the data. Once I've removed the errors, what I need to do, I need to pivot this particular column also to make sure it's a pivot column. My value column is the value column itself. So I'll just say, okay. So once this is done, yeah, what I can do here is remove all the null values or whatever values are not required for me, or the sales values which do not have proper intelligence here. And then now you can see my data is properly transformed, and now I can just close and load this data into my Excel file. So once I close and load this query into my Excel file, you can see all the three files will be loaded here. And once all the three files are loaded here, what I can do here is any number of files I add in that particular folder, okay, it'll get refreshed here itself. So once what I'll do here is just for showing you guys, I'll make a copy of these files, okay. See, any number of files I update in the folder, it will automatically get updated in the Power Query. Right now you can see the Power Query is showing it has 93,341 rows, correct? Now what I can do, I can just right click on this and I can just refresh this query. If you see, if I refresh this query, what will happen? It will start importing all the files that are there in the folder because I have linked the Power Query to that particular folder, not to the files. So in that sense, it will import all the 7 files here. You can see any number of files at any point of time you drop which has the same format, what will happen? Power Query will automatically import it and bring it into Excel file. Okay, so this is how we do multiple importations with Power Query here in Excel, in the sense that we actually import multiple files together. Okay. You can see now the sales row is loaded. Row numbers have been updated here. Okay, and my all the other sheets that are there in that particular folder have been imported into this file. Excel file. If you guys have any doubt, what you can do is you can always ask me on live chat, or if you guys don't have any doubt, I'll always you can end the session today and we'll meet on Monday. Okay, I guess today's Friday, right? Today's Thursday. Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow. It's not an issue. Okay, today is Friday. This is Thursday. Okay, tomorrow is Friday. Great. We'll again meet on Friday. Okay, I'll send you the message in WhatsApp group. Some Yes, thank you then. Let's meet you tomorrow.